Yaroslavl is a city in Russia that has an interesting history. 1,000 years ago, a bear was unleashed on the prince by his enemies, but at the right time, he was able to protect himself and kill the bear. To celebrate this victory, he founded Yaroslavl. Now fast forward to the present, Putin believes that Russia is a bear that is under threat by the West. He believed that West was putting chains on the bear and taking out all the fangs and claws of it. This mindset shows the hate relationship between the US and Russia. Now the question is, why? Why are there so many differences and hate between these two countries? And let me tell you, these countries are extremely powerful, and their war can cause chaos in the world. These two superpowers are on the brink of war due to various reasons. And what are these? In this video, I will tell you why Russia is against the US, and maybe, just maybe, risk a destructive war in the future due to these differences. Number 1. War for power. The sour relationship between the US and Russia emerged after the collapse of the USSR. Soviet communism collapsed in Russia, so the US thought that Russia wanted to be like the West. The US sent economic and political advisors to work with the official people of Russia to promote democracy and market it, but Russia wasn't in favor of it. They believed that their government had given them a unique place in the world, and they wanted to sustain it. But the US was not in favor of it. Russia felt humiliated to accept any democratic offer from the US and believed that America was not giving importance to its narrative. Russia wants the acknowledgement of their unique ways, and the US is unable to accept it. Now Vladimir Putin is making Russia an authoritarian figure, competing with the US for influence and power. Though Russia is weaker than the US in military and economic ways, it still has the power to overcome the US. This war for power and differences in thoughts is the reason for their strained relationship. Number 2. Syrian Civil War. We can see these differences in different wars and situations. The major one in history is the Syrian Civil War that took place in 2015. In this year, Russia entered the war and supported Bashar al-Assad, but America was supporting the opposing groups of Bashar, so this created tension between these two nations. Both nations deconflict their air operations in Syria. When the US recovered from the war, Russians took over US bases to support the Bashar group. Number 3. Russia's cyber interference in US elections. But the major blow in their relationship happened in 2016. Russia did cyber interference in the 2016 US presidential election campaign. The country used social media to cast doubts on Americans about their democracy. They also used social media to favor Donald Trump over Hillary Clinton. Not only this, it is believed that Russia penetrated election machines too in some states. It wants to change the election results and wants Donald Trump to win. Due to this interference, the US Congress and the executive branch have tough policies toward Russia. Number 4. Ukraine War. Another major reason for differences is the Ukraine War. As you all know, the Russia and Ukraine war started in February 2022, in which Ukraine is losing and in need of help. America wanted Russia to not invade Ukraine, otherwise it will face severe costs. These include economic sanctions. But Russia has invaded the war, so the US is with Ukraine. It's sending billions of dollars to Ukraine as financial and humanitarian aid. Also, the United States is helping Ukraine with actionable intelligence in the war. They're using satellite and drone imagery to alert Ukrainian forces about Russian forces and attacks. In one of his speeches, Biden mentioned that Putin is a terrorist. He believed that Russia and China were a real threat to them. Number 5. Concerns about human rights. With this, Washington has raised various concerns related to human rights in Russia. The US has criticized the imprisonment of Putin's prominent political opponent Alexei Navalny. They believe that human rights were extremely violated in Russia. Number 6. Jailed Americans. Not only this, the US is concerned about the imprisonment of 2 former US Marines. Trevor Reed and Paul Whelan are wrongly accused and jailed in Russia. So these are some of the major reasons why Russia and the US have bitter relationships. This shows that they both have entirely different mindsets and want power and control. What are your thoughts about it? Do discuss it in the comment section, and for more content like this, do subscribe to the channel.